Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Dawg House Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about some of Georgia's big recruiting wins. They're really building up that defensive line. Going to talk about some of the top coaches here, the top five coaches of 2023, Georgia's upcoming 2024 schedule, and much, much more. And also we got special guest here, Alex Crittenden from the Fifth Quarter Georgia Twitter account. How are we doing today, Alex?
Good. It's wonderful to be here.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Also, if you could like, subscribe, and share the podcast, that would really help us out on YouTube. Alex, got some big recruiting wins since the last time we were on. One of them is Quatavius Johnson, defensive lineman. I believe he's a four-star. Going to get some of your thoughts on some of Georgia's big-time pickups on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, so Quatavius Johnson is a big guy. Looked a little bit at his film. He's big. He's strong. He's got a lot of power. And it seems like he can kind of play all over the line a little bit. I'm really excited to see how he develops. People will look at that 3-star rating and realize that a 3-star rating sometimes doesn't mean a 3-star rating when you're going to Coach Kirby Smart. I mean, he's turned a lot of 3-stars into some big time players, including Jordan Davis and Javon Boyard. So if you're going to Georgia, I can promise you that Kirby's going to really work to get those guys to be able to play on the field at a very high level.
Yeah, completely agree. I know Trey Scott's getting a lot of these guys, building up, like you said, Jordan Davis, kind of getting these diamonds in the rough. I think at Georgia, you got to do a couple of workouts to catch their eye. So whatever Kirby's doing, you gotta believe in that. Getting these 3 stars, 2-star diamond in the rough. Loud McConkey was a great pickup. I think he originally wanted to go to Tennessee because he's a big Tennessee fan, but Tennessee didn't offer him. So yeah, you just got to trust. What Kirby's doing for sure.
Absolutely. I think if Georgia offers, anybody right now, they're a player, and they obviously see something in Quintavious, and I think it's going to work out, very well, considering what we've done in the past.
Exactly. And another defensive lineman they picked out in the last couple of weeks was Jordan Thomas. He's another 4-star, 6'5", 325 from New Jersey, working out that East Coast area. So that was another big pickup. I think he's long and lean. What's your thoughts on Jordan?
So Jordan, this is the guy I dived into on the most. He can match up with anyone on the offensive line. I've seen him line up in right over the center, on a nose. I've seen him line up in a 3-eye technique, which is head up on the tackle. He's strong. Has a very quick first step. I'd like to see how he progresses if he stays in that 3-eye technique. In college, I don't know if he will. But as a nose, he definitely is a disruptor. This guy could be that, future Jordan Davis replacement, and guys like Zion Logue and Warren Brinson, are taking that role over this year, and Jalen Carter last year. So I think he could be a big piece for the future for Georgia just because of how big he is. I think he did really well in that nose position on his film. And yeah, like you said, in the East Coast, there's another guy, Ellis Robinson, that I'm really excited for too. So I'm glad we're getting up there a little bit.
For sure. I think it's showing that Kirby's not scared to go. Of course, he wants to get all the guys in state, but he's also expanding the East Coast, West Coast. He's getting guys from, California area, Dylan Raiola, Phoenix, Arizona, which I think he's going to go to Buford, which was.
Yeah, he's transferring.
That's right. I think that was a great pickup. I think he's definitely showing that he's all dog because you never know these days.
Yeah,
with the way
exactly.
kids are, NIL come in, so a team come in, offer a stack of cash. So that's great that he's all dog. And then another great pickup, I think it was another 3-star out of Garner, North Carolina. I'm actually out of Charlotte, so this is more of a local guy. Namdia Okabuko, you might say it better. I don't know if I did, but 6'4", 355 seemed like another diamond in the rough, maybe another Jordan Davis. I've even read that he might have gotten closer to 400, so might need to get him on a little bit of diet, but definitely a big, large individual.
Yes, I actually saw some things where he's working really hard with his high school coaches in the spring which obviously I really like, and obviously we got him from Florida, which is always a
Right.
good thing.
Right.
But I really like this kid. He seems like he has a very high work ethic, considering all the videos I've watched him. He's working in the spring, doing a lot of drills, at his high school or wherever he was. But I'm telling you, like I said before with Quintavious, if you get an offer from Georgia, you're a player. You've definitely got a lot of potential. And Trey Scott, his record speaks for himself. He sees things and he goes after them. So I'm really excited for this kid too, especially with how big he is. Because Georgia always runs that, seems like they run that, 4-3 or 3-4 with like a standing outside linebacker, two, middle linebackers, and we always need a strong interior presence with what, Kirby wants to do on that defense. So really happy we've got some, big boys, especially with all the transfers that have kind of left, this past year. So it looks like he's building that D line to be able to rotate and get guys in and out.
Exactly. Got to have that run stopper, which has been great with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, because it just seems like all the Kirby teams can't run against him. He's going to take that away from you. Only way to really beat him through the air. So completely agree on that. One other thing I did want to give a shout out to our sponsor here, Viva Tequila Seltzer. If you're playing golf on the beverage here, no sugar, no calories. Live life, live it up. One of my personal favorites is the watermelon flavor. And if you ever want the discount code, it's Hustle20. So Hustle20 at vivatequilaseltzer.com. Check it out. Great sponsor of the show. Yeah, one other thing I wanted to jump into is I know they just had the 2024 schedule released, and I know a lot of them, like ESPN analyst Greg McElroy said, brutal for Georgia coming up. It's going to be a lot of road games. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And I think maybe SEC was getting us back a little bit for having supposedly our favorable, easy 2023 schedule.
Yeah, so the 2023 schedule is interesting because we had a game in Norman at Oklahoma, and the SEC commissioner said, "Hey, not this year," since they're joining next year. But for next year in 2024, I'm personally really excited because it just gives us better games, bigger games, especially I believe the 12-team playoff is coming.
Right.
So like now these big teams like Georgia, Bama, Clemson, all these, they can afford to lose a game. It's not like you have to be completely perfect to make the playoff anymore, because back in 2018, and this year we had like Georgia was lost to Alabama by like 7 in the SEC championship to Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter. And like Nick Saban said, this year we were definitely probably one of the top 14. So we lost 2 games. You can't get in with 2 losses. But now with the 12-team playoff, yeah, the schedule looks brutal. But if we lose 1 or 2 games, we can still sneak in. We can, if we lose, just because you lose 1 or 2 games doesn't mean you're not one of the best teams in the country with this new platform and new format coming. Personally, I'm really excited for the game at Texas.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. I hear Austin, the DK Texas Memorial Stadium is a really cool place. Right. I've got a buddy who's a big Texas fan. And at Alabama and at Texas, yeah, that schedule is really brutal. It is. It's going to be difficult. If you asked me if we were going to go, 12-0, I'd probably be like, I'm a little concerned about that just because of the road games. The only thing I was disappointed of is we don't have many home games at Sanford in the SEC because of that Jacksonville game with Florida. Yeah. So I was a little disappointed in that. But we do have that game in Atlanta with Clemson. So that you can consider that almost a home game because of how much we play there. But I'm personally really excited. I love seeing Georgia go against the best, and I'm sure all Georgia fans can say the same. So should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I completely agree. At Texas is always great. Finally get to play them at Ole Miss, get the whole Grove experience. Hopefully they'll have that at 3:30 or night games, not 12 o'clock. I think the last time they played there, Georgia got smoked 2016 with Jacob Eason.
Yep.
So that'll be maybe they'll circle that, and you don't want to lose the Lane Kiffin. You get brutalized on Twitter.
No thanks. I'm good on that one.
Exactly. The only one I kind of disagree, and maybe it just is, we just did play. It was a COVID year, but we did play, at Alabama in 2020. It would have been good to get them in Athens. I think the last time they came to Athens was 2015, and they smoked us there too.
Yep.
Henry and the rain game.
I would have
What
liked
about,
to see LSU in that slot too. I mean, we
yeah,
just played Bama in the COVID year. And I would have loved to see LSU come to town. I don't think they've been to us since 2013 with Zach Mettenberger and Aaron Murray playing against each other.
that's right.
That's one of my favorite games in of that decade in the Mark Richt era. That game was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, going to Nick Saban, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah. And you might have, there's no telling, you might have a young Dylan Raiola getting
Yep.
ready on the road, might growing up early.
Yep. Absolutely.
So yeah, and then also wanted to get, I know it's really, really early, but early picks, everybody's doing picks, early predictions. What's maybe your top four, your college football playoff teams?
So
You
I
had
have
to pick.
I have Georgia at number one just because of our
Okay.
favorable schedule. I think we can take care of business in the SEC championship.
Right.
I believe we do have the best roster in the SEC coming into this year. I know we lost a decent amount, but I mean, Kirby's kind of proven this, over time that he just kind of reloads. Jalen Carter, Keely Ringo, Chris Smith are big losses. I'm excited to see Tyke Smith come back. I'm excited to see Zion Logue and some of these young guys
Okay.
come in. And then I have Michigan at number two. I know a lot of people think Ohio State, but I just don't see Kyle McCord going into, the big house and beating McCarthy, Edwards, and Corum. That offense, I don't know. I like Ohio State. I think they're a really good team.
Mhm.
It's just they're just going to be very young, and their offensive line is a little bit in question. Number three, I do have Alabama.
Hmm.
Every time someone doubts Nick Saban, he comes back. He does really well. He reloads. I don't think their quarterback problems are going to be as prevalent as we're speaking of them in the offseason. I think they're going to be just fine. And then I have Clemson. It's a
Hmm.
surprise pick at 4. I think they're going to do well with Cade Klubnik. I think Dabo's recruited at a very, very high level this offseason and, the seasons before. And so I do have Clemson at 4. And then my next two out would be Ohio State and USC.
Gotcha. So your four would be Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, and Clemson.
Yes.
Okay, I can see that. I'm gonna go a little bit of a different route. I'm gonna go Georgia again just because of that schedule. Got a lot of guys back. I really believe in Carson Beck,
Mm-hmm.
Bobo. I think this defense, as they're talking about, they're having 7 starters back. You get number one defense, hold them, get that 10, 12 a game.
Yep.
We got a good O line. We got, I think,
Oh,
an
yeah.
underrated O line. It could be
Very
maybe
experienced. Very. We're going
exactly.
to have Marius Mims, who's been in the program for a couple years at right tackle or left tackle, but I'm very excited to see them this year.
Exactly. I think in any game, hey, you give a team number one defense, overall defense. You give them one of the top O lines, and you got maybe even better wide receiver core and a
Mhm.
quarterback. I mean,
Yep.
it's a good ingredients there. I'm gonna agree with you. I got Michigan number 2. I just think Ohio State with Kyle McCord didn't blow anybody's hair back. The O line I was just reading about, they've lost a lot on the offensive line. They were trying to get a lot of transfers coming in. I
Mm-hmm.
know they got the Marvin Harrison Jr. and those wideouts are dangerous. I just, like I said, I think Ohio State, they might, they played some close games last year. Push Georgia to the brink. We got away with that one, but hey, that's the way it goes. So I'm actually going to go LSU. I think LSU wins it out of the West. I really think Saban is the slow decline. Could be completely wrong, but I think they
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of problems at quarterback. The fact that they got forgot the kid's name, transferred from Notre Dame right after the spring game.
Tyler Buchner.
Yep, that was a big red flag. Tommy Reese, the OC, not sold on him.
Mm-mm.
And then their DC, I forget his name, coming over. He's not getting his like
Evan
elite.
Steele, I
Evan
believe.
Steele. He's not getting his like A+ hires anymore. I feel like that's kind of there. So I could see them maybe going 10-2, losing one, but I like LSU in that third spot. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna kind of go with maybe the popular one. I like Florida State's trending up. I think they're going there. They got the quarterback back. And then with USC, I just can't, I'm not sold on until they get a defense. Can put up video game numbers, but Utah just punched them in the mouth twice last year. Just beat them up in that Big Ten, or I'm sorry, Big 12. I'm sorry, Pac 12 championship game there. I was really disappointed in that. So those would be my four.
I like it. I think LSU's got a great roster. They got great receivers. Jaden Daniels is really, really good.
Right.
Florida State with Mike Norvell is, outstanding. And yeah, I could definitely see your four happening for sure.
Yeah, be interesting to see. And then one other quick one that we like to talk about. I guess we can give your top four right now, as I'll say, maybe not all time, but right now, top five coaches. Who would you say the top five coaches in college football?
Oh, I think it's, plausible to put Smart at one. He's won back-to-back championships. He's beaten every single playoff champion, like each program that's won a championship in the playoff era in those 2 years. And I mean, he reloaded after losing, I think, 9 first rounders the year before.
That's right.
And we had a couple scares. So I think with Missouri we struggled, and Ohio State, was a close game. But other than that, we kind of beat everyone up a little bit. So I think Smart is at one. Saban obviously is at two. His track record speaks for himself. I have a lot of respect for Nick Saban, and what he's built. I actually have Dabo Swinney at two, and the reason is he's proven he can win, bowl games and championships and stuff like that. And Harbaugh still hasn't won a bowl game since he's been there. And so it's hard for me to put Jim Harbaugh above Dabo right now. I do have Jim Harbaugh at 4. And then I have Brian Kelly at 5. I think what he was able to do at Notre Dame, even though he didn't win, any playoff games or championships, and then it's still very impressive to do that of an independent, and get to the playoff and stuff like that. And his first year at LSU was, a success. I know they dropped a bad one at Texas A&M, but they still beat Alabama, and had some very good wins. So I had Brian Kelly at 5. And then right outside of the top 5, I had Day, Lincoln Riley, and then Kyle Whittingham from Utah.
Okay, nice. I like that. So not giving giving Ryan Day any love. You like Harbaugh better than him because he beat him 2 straight years?
I do. I just think the way, it took Harbaugh some time, but Harbaugh's famous quote is, he is talking like he hit a home run, but he was born on a triple. You remember that quote he said? He inherited an insanely good program and he hasn't really taken it forward. He's kind of stayed the same, or even declined a little bit. So I definitely have Harbaugh ahead of Ryan Day right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I like Kirby Smart right now, winning back-to-back. You're what, 29-1 the last 2 years. Played in 3 in his first 7. So I'm gonna definitely go right now. Kirby Smart, of course, the GOAT all time. Nick Saban, definitely. I'm gonna put him at number 2 as of right now. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Dabo because he does have 2 national titles under it. I know, and he's been very, very competitive. He's right there. I just feel like he's been really stubborn with the transfer portal and then his coaching hires. I think that was a really good hire. I think in the offseason from the TCU coach. I forget his name.
Sonny Dykes.
He was for the offensive coordinator there, right?
Yeah, it's Lincoln Riley's brother.
That's right. I think that was a good hire. So I'm gonna go with him with 3. And then I'm gonna go with your Harbaugh at 4. Harbaugh just beaten and won back-to-back Big Ten championships as of right now. Of course, before that, I think he was 0-5, 0-6 against Ohio State. Ohio State owned him. Urban Meyer owned him, but I feel like he's kind of got Ryan Day's number. So I'm gonna go with those 3. And then I'm gonna go Ryan Day 5 because him going to the brink, he has played in he has played in a national title game, even though they did lose. So he's like, feel like he's like his defense away. If he can get a little bit better defense, he'll be right there. So those are mine. Not believing in Lincoln Riley. Got to get a defense.
I'm not a Lincoln Riley guy either. I think he's a little overrated.
And I do agree with the Utah coach Kyle Willingham. He kind of gets the best out of all his players. If you gave him an SEC program with the elites, he could be dangerous. So I definitely agree with that.
Same with Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. I'm kind of excited to see that as well.
Yeah, another one is the Nebraska coach. He came in from the Panthers. I
Matt
forget.
Rule.
Matt Rule. They they hated him around here in Charlotte. They're glad he's gone, but he's been able to build programs, so he could be a little dangerous in Nebraska. I feel like they're still living in the '90s, so we'll see.
Yeah, they were not very happy about Raiola coming to Georgia. That's for sure.
Yeah, I had a feeling like did you really think you were going to get him? I don't know. Nebraska still, got some work to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Alex wanted to see how to follow you guys on the socials. Got your fifth quarter Georgia Twitter up here.
Yes, that I will. I love tweeting. I love using that thing. I love connecting with other Georgia fans and everything. I love talking with other fan bases and everything. So yeah, please go follow me. I try to keep everyone updated with everything going on, and I really appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, appreciate it. And yeah, fifth quarter here. And this is a part, I think you mentioned earlier, part of the CFB home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, go and check those guys out. And it's
Yes.
always good to talk to fellow Georgia podcast or content provider.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah. Yeah,
This is my
appreciate it.
first podcast I've ever done.
Awesome.
So,
Hey, that's great. Hey, if you ever think about, hey, it's everybody's got one. Is they started on YouTube and just kind of build the thing, be consistent, and
mhm.
everybody's been really great. I've connected with a lot of people on Twitter and Instagram, and everybody's very supportive. So I really appreciate that. And it's just like a little, hobby, passion of mine, and
Mhm.
just looking to see it grow. All right, Alex. Well, I appreciate it. And that was another Dawg House podcast. And we'll see you on down the road. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.